All right, guys, welcome back to Sobriety University. Today, I'm going to be talking about the phenomena of when weed stops being fun. I think if you've come to this channel and you've smoked weed throughout your journey, you've definitely experienced this before. And this can be a very interesting thing because although on one hand, we don't like getting high anymore, every time we smoke, we feel paranoid or anxiety or depression, whatever it might be. You know, every time you smoke, you're like, this is it. I'm done with this. It's no longer fun. And then the next day you're craving it and wanting to get high again. So it's a very interesting push-pull. And this is why addiction can be so difficult, is because of this dynamic. So we're gonna dive into that, but before we do, I want to talk about the experience of when you start to realize that weed is no longer giving you the fun that it used to. For me, I love smoking weed with my friends. It was a lot of fun. I started smoking weed after high school when I got into university. And so all my friends on my floor, we all smoked weed together pretty regularly. And let's just say my grades and my weed use were not good friends. I remember at first it was something that was very exciting to do. I never really craved it throughout the day, but when somebody would bring it up or evening would roll around and someone was like, hey, let's go smoke, I get really excited. And as I started to continue to smoke more and more and more, what happened was all that fun I used to have, the laughing with my friends, the enjoying food, all this stuff just stopped being enjoyable. And the reality set in of, oh, wow, this is what I'm doing with my life. I'm literally spending all day, every day smoking weed. And this is not who I see myself as. I see myself as a productive, successful person. And yet I don't have any success. And I'm going to the joint every single day, almost habitually, and I can't stop. And it was a very scary moment. And that's when I think for me, it stopped being fun, when I started to realize there's more to life, one, than getting high all the time. Two, life's going to continue. I think when you smoke weed, time can just kind of stop and you become very in the moment. And this is what's so enjoyable about weed, especially in the beginning. That's what I liked about it so much, is that it stopped my thinking. It helped me be in the present moment. I wasn't worrying about, my past or the future. I wasn't reminiscing on any negative experiences. I was just there having a good time in the moment. And that started to wear off though. And it started to be where I couldn't ignore the reality of my situation anymore. I couldn't ignore the very little money in my bank account, or how all my old friends I wasn't in touch with anymore. And that's when it started to get scary and I didn't really enjoy it anymore. Yet at that point, I was so hooked on it. And so it was very difficult to stop. And that was the whole process of getting sober and quitting marijuana, in its entirety. And so the real work of sobriety is learning how to enjoy life again without marijuana. This is one of the hardest things I see a lot of people that I work with have to experience, and that I experienced myself, is one, having that dopamine reset so little things start to be enjoyable, and then actively working to find things that are going to fulfill that are going to replace the marijuana use and be something that you can look forward to. I think there's a lot of things to enjoy in life. And as someone with an addictive personality, it's very easy to indulge in things, like really indulge to the point where I don't enjoy it anymore. And so this has been something I've really had to work on, is how can I enjoy a little bit of something and then, put it to the side and move on with my life. I can't do that with weed. As soon as I smoke weed, it's just going to go downhill. And so I'm not touching that. But there's other things I need to find. And I think one of the really important parts is that it's an active process. You actually have to go out there and find things that are going to be enjoyable, that are healthy for you and that can nourish your life, etc. Which I think a lot of people think is they think they're going to quit weed and then they're just going to sit there and then they're going to just be happy, right? You're going to feel better as you quit weed. There's an element to that, right? Because your dopamine levels, your serotonin levels are resetting. And so you just have a more natural sense of well-being after quitting weed for a little while. That eventually though becomes the new normal. And then it's like, okay, I got to find things that are going to actually be things I can enjoy and do and, live out this world. Because again, one of the realities that hit me when I quit weed, and that when I was realizing that weed is no longer fun, is that, life's going to go on, time is going to pass by, whether I'm high or not, time doesn't care. It's going to keep going. So I really had to ask myself, how do I want to fulfill my time and live my time? Because it's very finite. It's, we have a lot of it, at the same time we don't. And at someday, I'm going to look back at my life and I want to be in a place where I'm grateful for all the things I did and happy for the experiences I got to have, and not in regret over the things I missed out on because I didn't take action or because I was stuck in an addiction. And so if you're watching this video and you're in that space where, okay, weed's not feeling very enjoyable anymore, Or maybe you've been in this cycle for a very long time now where you know weed is not fun, yet every single day you go back to it. So let's dive a little bit into that. Why do we crave it so much? Why is it so powerful? And even though we know it's destroying our lives, we still go back to it. Well, the first thing that comes to mind is it's a habit. It's habitual. And what I found, it takes about 15 to 30 days, depending on the habit, to start a new habit, to end a new habit and start a new one. So what a lot of people find is after a month, maybe 2 months, whatever it might be, they start to feel a lot better and they don't really think about weed anymore. However, to get there, there's going to be a week or so that's a bit painful. It could be very painful, to be honest. If you go through that week, you're going to start to feel better. Another reason why, even though weed isn't fun anymore, we still go back to it, is the ritual behind it. And this is something that, okay, guys, this really blew my mind when I was figuring out addiction and kind of learning about myself, is I really never liked getting high after, the initial couple of years where it was really fun. When it became a habit and when I was using it every single day, I wasn't enjoying getting high. I was enjoying the process of getting high. I was enjoying the anticipation of getting to get high. Being excited about, getting out the weed, grinding it up, putting it in the bowl or bong or whatever and smoking it. Like that whole ritual was very comforting because I'd done it so many times. I knew the outcome and it just felt familiar. It felt comfortable. And I knew in that moment when I was packing it, I got to forget about the world and my problems. And I got to feel a bit of happiness, even though it was very, very short lived. It was still more happiness than I was feeling on a regular basis. So it was naturally just like my mind was like, okay, what's the one thing that can get us happy? Okay, go in and pack in a bowl. Like, let's do that. And then, of course, afterwards, like we're talking about in this video, I felt miserable. I felt depressed, anxiety, paranoia, fear, a lot of fear about my life and my future, and just where I was headed, if I was going to be broken single my whole life, all that stuff. So this, funny enough, the weed exacerbated that, but the process of smoking weed calmed that and made me forget about that. So it was a very vicious cycle, as you guys can see. And that is what I think is one of the biggest things that keeps people stuck, is that ritual, that habituation around marijuana. Again, once you break those habits, and that's again why this channel is around, to give you some motivation and help you along this process. Once you get past that, you do start to get excited over other habits and new things you're forming in your life, new experiences, new relationships. Even just cooking a meal can feel really enjoyable. So if you're in this process right now, I encourage you, do not give up. Don't throw in the towel just yet. Push through, give it a few days even just to experience what life is like without weed, and really watch your mind and how it behaves around this cycle of addiction and how you crave it and then you feel bad about it. Watch that habitual cycle. And the real key is then the next day when you feel really excited about smoking weed, you stop it. You say, okay, today I'm not going to feel this pleasure and I'm not going to feel this excitement. I'm going to let myself feel disappointed that I don't get to smoke weed today. Caveat being is I get to feel really good the next day because I know I didn't smoke weed. Or even like after the craving goes away, because cravings don't last, too long, maybe like 10, 20 minutes to an hour. After you get through that, you realize, oh, okay, I don't really need it. Like I can go do other stuff. And then you start to build that inner confidence and that peace that, okay, finally weed is not going to control my life. I'm not going to be a slave to it anymore. And man, that's when the freedom really begins. So guys, I want to say first off, thank you so much for helping get this channel to 6,000 subscribers. We just hit it today. It is incredible. And it is crazy. And a big thank you to some of the OGs that have been around since the beginning of the channel, and then as well as new people that have come on board. And I know I've taken a step back for sure. I've needed to address some other things, but I'm going to at least get in the habit, right? I got to take my own medicine here to start making regular videos again and get this message out there, because I think from what I see from you guys and in the comments is that just having someone that you can go to, just having somewhere you can go to kind of hear that you're not alone in this process has been very helpful. And for me, I have YouTube channels that I go to for other areas of my life that give me a lot of peace and relief and kind of comfort. And so I'm happy that Sobriety University has gotten to be that for you. And maybe you just take this to the next level now. You know what you have to do, and now it's just putting it into action every single day and making those little steps forward. So guys, if you do need some one-on-one support on this and you're kind of stuck and sick and tired of trying to do this alone, and getting to a couple days and then relapsing over and over and over again. Man, I know the cycle is exhausting. I definitely encourage you to book a call with me. I do one-on-one support and coaching, and we can really work together to quit your marijuana addiction. My main purpose in this is accountability, and to be that person you can go to and know that you're not in this alone, like I said, and that there are things you can do. We were going to create an action plan for you, things you can do every single day to start making the quitting process a lot easier. So hit that link down below to schedule a call if this is something that you think could really benefit you and help you reach that next level in your sobriety and finally quit weed for good. Share this video with anybody you know that is suffering with weed, and let's keep growing this community. I appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to you soon. Peace.